Hey guys, welcome to another day with Zimaleta. I just got loaded. What the heck? Well, my pocket's going to my locking thing. I just got loaded, guys, and I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. I was in Louisville, Kentucky, and they sent me 375 miles away just to pick up a load, okay, to go to Chicago. So to Chicago, it's 548 miles. I'm only going to get paid $640 for this load. So total miles, it's at 70 cents. So they are paying me for all the miles, okay? I know what you might say, Serge, you don't drive for 70 cents. I know, I don't. I drive for 80. However, they did book this load on Sunday, and I could have been sitting there Sunday. Instead, I was working, so which was good. But it was a morning pickup. But guys, this is not what I want to make the video about today. I'm thinking, okay, so I gotta go 548 miles to Chicago. That's all that the shipper knows. They don't know how far I drove, you know, when they were bidding the load. So guess what, guys? If they're paying me this much money, that means they're technically paying me $1.16 and some change for this load. That makes you think. If I'm only typically getting paid 80 cents, and companies are bidding $1.16 a mile, you know, they're profiting like 36 cents. And you know they're bidding more, you know. So don't let the companies fool you into telling you they could only get you X amount of dollars. It's like, it's not right. You know, they are out there to make money at our expense, and there's no if or buts about it. Now, my company is pretty fair, but looks like I'm going the wrong way, so I might as well get some fuel while I'm at it. Oh, I am going the right way. Okay, my GPS is a little bit slow, because I thought I was supposed to be going this way. Yeah, guys, basically, you know, you could believe your company, I believe mine, but obviously you could tell I'm getting paid 80 cents usually per mile, and this load is $1.16, and this is a Ford load, and I do nothing but Ford load. So if Ford is okay to pay $1.16 for this load out of Memphis, Tennessee, where a lot of guys also sit, then they're okay to pay it everywhere. As a matter of fact, that's what Ford actually says. You know, they're not cheap. Guys, I'm fueling up, but this makes me think. Okay, I've been talking to other drivers as well, and it's becoming a common practice that guys are getting paid 60 cents a mile. Like, this is even less than 65. And when I ask the reasons why, and it's always like, you know, they've been stuck somewhere for 3 days, and the company's like, hey, we could only give you 60 cents for you to get out, and they end up getting out, and sometimes putting themselves in a better position to do so. But this being said, I mean, we're already paying so much money for insurance. We're already taking all the responsibilities, all the risk of doing business, and if we even want to stay and, you know, do this ourselves, we can technically, you know, book these loads for more than $1. You know, $1.16, $1.15, $1.10, you know. I mean, shoot, this is even common practice to pay drivers $1.10 a mile if they're going somewhere, and, you know, like west, in the west somewhere, you know, like some of those states over there. Like, you could, you know, let's say, for instance, Denver, Colorado, you know, in places around there, anything west of Mississippi River, really, you could ask for $1.10 and you could get it. Depending on the company. Some companies might still not give it to you, but then again, they should, because there's no loads on there. You'll end up deadheading out. So technically, you're not really making $1.10. If you have to deadhead 500 miles out of there, I mean, just cut that in half, and you know, now you're at, like, man, like not even 60 cents. Yeah, it's even lower. So, you know, to be fair, you know, you have to ask for a proper amount of money if you choose to go down there. But if you are down there, might as well treat it like a vacation. I don't know, go do some sightseeing or something, so it feels like at least you got paid to go, you know, on vacation or something. But anyways, the reason I'm kind of like bringing all these topics up is obviously to make us think as drivers, because this is making me think, and I'm like, how much are they getting for this load if they just paid me pretty much $1.16 a mile, you know? As you know, guys, they had to ask for more. You know, I don't think the company's trying to just work for nothing, you know? They obviously took it more than $1.16. You know, I remember when I used to work with one of the companies back in the day, and they proudly told me, oh, we only take 25 cents for us, not like other companies that take 40, you know, we only take 25 cents per mile, you know. And they made it sound like wow, they were doing us a favor, you know. But if somebody's making 25 cents per mile, that's actually pretty good miles. I mean, pretty good money. Because if you book a load, 500-mile load, and just profit 20 cents off that load, and you just give it to a driver, that's $100 in your pocket. So, you know, 40 cents, that's $200. And that adds up if you have a lot of drivers. That's why a lot of these companies, they just get a lot of drivers so they could be everywhere across the country, and they have the real high chance of booking a lot of loads at expense at some drivers having to sit, because there might be like a lot of them in the same area, which was going to be the case if I would not move out of Louisville, Kentucky yesterday, because a lot of trucks came down that way, including from my company. So, you know, Monday would be very tough to get out. So I went ahead and I got out for 70 cents. But I'm kind of thinking, look guys, how bad does it have to get as far as us getting paid per mile? Like, how bad does it have to get for us to really like figure out and like, hey, this is just not worth it, because at 65 cents, you're just breaking even. I mean, especially it's like 60 cents, you're definitely breaking even. And, you know, for us to just then go ahead and just get your own MC, I mean, it costs like, I don't know, somewhere like around like 300 bucks. I mean, we're already paying for the insurances. Let the thing grow on the side. We could still technically be owner operators for other companies out there, because we would be picking up a load under their MC, not under our MC. And of course, we could also negotiate with these companies and say, hey, not only that I'm my own operator, I'm my own guy, I would like to take this under my own MC, and maybe you could bid a higher price, since you are taking the complete risk for the load. Like, it really, you know, they make their money and they sold the load off, and then you're technically responsible, which we are anyways. I mean, think about if anything would happen, even though that like my company buys insurance for me too, and I got the million liability $100,000 cargo for me as well, but they buy one for me, and they said that I could drop my coverages. I don't have to have as much. I bet they still will use my insurance if something happens, like an accident of some sort, and they're not going to try to take responsibility for that, you know. So, you know, that makes me think, obviously, and you guys heard me say many times in my videos, I'm trying to start my own expediting company. I'm just going to slowly start it up, see where it goes, and to begin with, I'm going to open up my MC. Not going to start using it right away, just let it kind of simmer, and just try to do a courier business locally. And I'm going to try to set up basically accounts locally. And I know like a lot of you guys been asking me like, hey, you know, Zimaleta, like I opened up my own company, got my, you know, DBA, and, you know, got my business, everything opened, I got my MC, DOT, what do I do now? And yes, that's a very good question, because now you're in business, and, you know, there's obviously trade secrets and, you know, stuff like that, that a lot of people, they're not willing to share. But I'm willing to share, despite it is raising a lot of, I guess, competition But I don't care. I much rather us drivers be informed and think for ourselves, and if we don't like the way things are going, just open up our own motor carrier number and start doing the loads ourselves. But anyways, let's answer the topic of what's next. Well, next, if I'm a courier company, that means it's a lot of local deliveries. Stuff might not need to get like, you know, you don't get cold on it like right away and say, hey, it's a hot shot, you know, go get it. It's more like, hey, we're gonna have loads 3 times a week coming out of our company, and we need a guy to do it. And you're like, okay, I'm that guy. And you're like, okay, so Monday we're gonna have a load picking up like at 8 o'clock in the morning, let's say, right? And you're gonna need to take it to some place, and then you'll come back and maybe you take another load or whatever from them, or maybe that's it for the day. And another day passes, you do another load, you do another load. But I would be working with them directly because I'm my own company, and technically I could set a driver down there. I could do it myself if I don't have the driver for that load. So what I would first do is try to get that account, and that's easier said than done, and then try to work that account myself, then get a guy, train him to do that account, and basically, you know, have the driver do that. And then when I get another account, of course I start doing it myself with another van, or if I'm lucky enough, maybe I have a driver that's going to already be training for that account. Like, we'll go together, we're gonna say, listen, so this is how things are, you know, we're gonna basically just do it together, you know, learn it up and stuff like that, answer any questions, I guess, at that point. And hopefully everything goes smoothly, and you know, I'm happy, he's happy, and we get to keep that account, because you know, guys, I mean, it's one thing getting that account, which is very difficult. It's another thing keeping it. And I think punctuality is going to be a key thing here. And that being said, I think it would be important to have one spare sprinter, just in case. What if something goes wrong and that driver gets, you know, broken down on the road? Maybe I cannot find somebody to take the load. But since this is all local, I could simply get in a van, go offload that, you know, from that van, go deliver it, then come back and pick up my own van. So basically, some of my vans are gonna have to have tow hitches, so I can just put a tow bar and just tow it home. Because guys, AAA will not tow our sprinters anymore. They used to, and it was really hard for them even to do it at that point. But they had this little loophole that if you were below 8,600 pounds, they'll still tow you. So sprinters still qualified, and that was actually gross vehicle weight. Gross vehicle weight, by the way, because sprinter only weighs between 6,000 and 6,500 pounds. Anyways, guys, yeah, I don't want to waste any more of your time, guys, but I think it's important to say these things and just to let us be aware at the actual pricing that these loads are being priced at, because we are being misinformed about how much these loads actually are. And when we are told, oh, I could only pay you X amount, you know, it's like, are you kidding me? You could only pay me X amount? It's like, why don't you try to do this load for a change? You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's easy to just stick to their guns and they keep their price, you know, but they're having us cut our price when we are the ones that's taking the expense. See, that's not fair. You know, I think if, you know, push comes to shove, they should give the driver more money and take the cut for themselves, because, you know, make a little bit, but take a cut, because, you know, especially if they're asking a driver to take a cut. Driver take a cut, they take a cut. And the cut should be, you know, I don't know, like, it needs to be fair, because it's not fair for us to take a cut and they don't take a cut, because it's like for some reason, like, they value themselves like higher than you. Yes, they do like have like overhead, like the building and stuff, and supplies, and maybe staff and stuff, but we have overhead even more, because not only that, we have to make payments on the sprinter if you don't have one, or extensively having to do major services if you have a used one, and that gets expensive. It's kind of like having a payment anyways. Plus we have to upkeep expensive insurance, and I know I already mentioned this. We have to drive ourselves, putting us in harm's way, and not knowing what else could happen, because some other breakdown could happen, and you know, it's a lot. It gets really expensive, and I think it is difficult for us to really figure out all these expenses for each load individually, but the expense is there. You know, you got the tires, you know, wear and tear. There's wear and tear and everything, you know, brakes and everything in the car. So it's like, sometimes we don't think that about those things. You know, we're like, okay, so in fuel is going to cost me X amount, so that's it. You know, like, you made money. But did you really, you know? Oh yeah, another thing I want to point out, like, let's say like the load is like $1.20 per mile, okay? So you just made 40 cents more than 80, like for instance, like in my case. So that means if you do 2 loads like that, it's like you did 3 loads. If you do 4, it's like you did, like, you know, like what, 3.5? I mean, 4.5, yeah. So if you do 5, it's like you did 6 loads. Or correct me if I'm wrong. I could be confused. So basically, every 2 loads is like you did 3 loads. So you actually do 4 loads, but it's like you did 6. Yeah, now I said it right. So it's like you make more money. It's like you win extra 4 loads each month, and that adds up to 48 extra loads each year, and each of those loads would bring approximately $300 to $350 per each load. So it's like, you know, what's the math here? Like, if it's $100, it's like 48 loads would be like about like what, like 4,800 bucks, right? Something around there. So that's like 3 times as much. So it's like, that's like over $10,000. This could easily cover the cost of your insurance or a Sprinter payment, maintenance, and really make it worth our while. Just try to load yourself, or it can cover the cost of Selectus. And yeah, another thing I guess important, like if you're listening to this for the first time, in order to get on Selectus, they want you to have 5 vans, and it's going to cost you $300 a month. But you have to have your MC 1 year before they'll even take you on, and that's an actual application process. If you get approved, then it's going to be like, you know, $300, you know, whatever, per month. But that being said, they have like another way of doing it, and it used to be like $8,000. So you paid them $6,000. They want 50% up front, and then they want basically payments over the course of next 6 months. And then after that, they want $400 a month, like not 300, but 400. And 400 is considerably more. But do they also give you more privileges because you just paid $6,000? And I think it is, because there's different levels of Selectus, and this is something I will also make a video on. I'm going to call Selectus. I'm going to have a conversation with them, because if you have full access to load boards, that's something to consider. It's a lot of money, but it's something to consider. I mean, after all, you're buying a business position, I guess, and there's a payment to maintain every, you know, $400. It's like I believe there's like a 3-year contract as well. So yeah, like they want their money. So you definitely have to be very serious about doing business if you're gonna go that route. But they also said $400 if $27 is not enough to cover the cost of $400. So my question is for them, and I want to answer this for you guys as well. If you have over 15 vans, because you're going to need about 15 vans in order to be at $400. What if you have 30 vans? Are you going to be at $800? Because my plan is to get at least 30. This is if I'm the only one that's managing this. And I think if I actually become an Expedite company and start actually hiring owner-operators across the country with your own vans, you know, I think I could manage 30 vans easy, and I think I could easily get 30 guys that would want to work with me. if you're one of those guys, write in the comments below if you actually would like to or consider me giving you loads if I do become an Expedite company and I pay that $6 grand and that $400 a month, if I would actually have the 30 people necessary. And I know there's quite a few of you guys, because I've been getting a lot of emails. I've been getting a lot of emails, guys asking me for work and stuff like that. But if you're watching this video, let me know in the comments below, yay or nay, if you would do business with me. If you would not, write in the comments why you would not. So let's try to solve these problems before I really hit it big. And I know you might be thinking, when are you actually going to do this? And there's a couple challenges that's up ahead, and a lot of times they seem a lot smaller than they really are. I like to think that I could do things quickly, but I'm planning to start doing this in January of 2019, the actual expediting thing, if I could take care of everything that I'm doing. But before January, I would like to build a fence. I'm gonna have to build one, probably using wood materials and putting posts and stuff like that, to begin with. If I do that, you know, it kind of makes it a little bit cleaner look, you know, from the street, because I have a lot of vans in my backyard, you know. I then will start working on those vans in the back and start getting them fixed, and I could get them fixed pretty quickly. Yeah, like really quickly. I think within a week I could definitely get like one operational. I was gonna say like 3 operational, but you know, I'm not gonna try to push it. The one I'm talking about, like the million-mile sprinter, like it needs a torque converter, so it's gonna take a day for me to do that. Drop the transmission, stick a torque converter in, and send it on its way. I was going to remove this torque converter from one of my vans that's got a possibly bad head gasket. I still don't know what it is, but we'll figure this out. It could be oil cooler gasket, but we'll see. The reason I was going to do that because I was planning to pull off the rear differential, the drive shaft, and it was going to have a lot of missing parts. So it's going to just become a parts printer. But I was able to pull out, you know, fix the drive shaft with the other pieces that I had. So now I technically, you know, have that van, but I've removed the fuel tank from it, and I've removed brake lines, and you know, for the rear, and I also removed brake calipers, which is not a big deal for me to install. I'll just have to get those parts again. So now the question becomes, will the sprinter that does not start actually start? If it does start, then it's a keeper. Like, I'll definitely use it, you know, for local stuff, because, you know, it's been constantly fixed and stuff like that as the guy had it. But that sprinter has a lot of miles. It's got like 750,000 miles. It does not scare me. However, that is original engine. And last experience I had with an engine with that many miles was 844,000, and the engine gave out. But the engine was knocking ever since 650,000 miles. It had a knock in it. So I made it last because I drove it very carefully. And it still was breaking down all the time. Like, I had Black Death, like I had those problems a couple times in that van, Black Death. So that van, yeah, was a really big headache and a huge lesson, and I definitely learned a lot from it. Too bad I don't have a YouTube channel at the time, because I could have really shared a lot of stuff with you guys. There's one video that came out of that, I think it was like posted in 2013, where I show how I built a tool to pull off a fuel injector. Now I have the actual tool now, so, which is good. So I'll actually be able to pull injectors if I need to. But if I could fix that sprinter that does not start, and fix the head gasket issue, which I could. If it's a head gasket, I mean, I pull off the head, put another gasket, boom, 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 we're done. That might take a week, you know. I mean, it should take like a couple of days, but I'm just saying a week for transmission, a week for the head gasket, probably a week to get another one started, plus assemble everything. And then the fun part begins. I'll need to actually get rid of the rust on all of those vans, if any, and paint those vans. And I'm choosing to stick with the color white, even though I like black, because for a couple reasons. White is a little bit cheaper paint. It also looks better in, for cargo vans, and most vans are white, so I would not have to really change the color scheme, and I could keep the same image going, like white vans with my logos and everything, for the courier company. So guys, including this one, I would have like 4 running vans, and that leaves me with 1 parts printer, and that leaves me with my 2012 Sprinter. So the 2012 Sprinter, I'm just going to fix it for myself, and I'm going to keep that as a spare. So if somebody breaks down, I could go probably pick that Sprinter up, bring it to my yard, and probably take care of the load using that one, you know. But I think that's going to be a pretty good start. So technically I'll have 5 Sprinters to meet the guidelines of Selectus. I would not want to use them for long distance for obvious reasons. If they're not obvious, one of the obvious reasons is insurance is going to be so much higher, and the biggest headache is if the Sprinter does break down somewhere in the middle of the country, it's going to be very expensive to fix, and it's going to be very far to tow it home. So that is a big problem. So I really don't want to have a headache like that. So plus the driver turnover for long distance is a lot higher, because most of these guys, they learn the business and they want to do it for themselves. They're like, why should we share? But locally, the courier business, it's a lot different. Like, I live in Lancaster, and in Lancaster is a huge unemployment, a lot of unemployment. So finding drivers, I mean, it would be like a godsend. Well, finding jobs as a drivers would be a godsend to these drivers, because like, it's an easy job, it pays good money, and it's like pretty much guaranteed. Because once I find courier contracts and they're just able to go back and forth, you know, I mean, like, what else do you need? It's like, and plus I'll build on that, you know, I'll keep building on that. And if there's some extra days that they're not working, I will probably fill it in either with other you know, like new work that's going to be coming in, or I will work together with another company and let them load that guy on those particular days. That was my initial plan, to just let somebody else load while I'm building the contracts up. If I'm able to do that, then, you know. And I do know what contracts I want. There's a certain contracts I want, and I think they will also want like 5 vans at least. And that's $1 million contract, and I know where it is, and I'm not going to tell you for now. I will tell you if I do get it, if I'm successful getting it, guys. And it's a tough contract to get. But there's a lot of work every single day. Like, that one, actually, it's not a courier. I mean, it's technically kind of like Expedite, but locally. But that's hot. The load has to be there, so, you know. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening to me. Leave me some comments below to give me something to do. But anyways, God bless you, take care, and good luck with your Sprinter. If you have problems, please ask me. I will help you guys. I try to do that all the time through emails and through comments. But if you guys can write this in the comments, like if it's not a secret or something, choose to do the comment section rather than an email. Believe it or not, guys, it's actually really easy for me to get all your comments. I don't care what video you live it on. I use YouTube Studio app, and I'm able to get all the comments right there and reply to every single one of you. I don't have to click on the videos in order to do that. So I could answer to you guys within like sometimes a couple hours, and sometimes definitely that day. And I'm constantly checking that stuff. Emails, I check like once a day. So, you know, that's going to be a little bit more difficult to get. Plus, emails usually longer. It's a lot more work. And gosh, there's a big accident. Look at this. I don't know if you guys seen that, but the whole bus burned to the ground. Crazy. But anyways, guys, God bless you. Take care of yourself.